Just take a moment. Always this just moment or two, this minute or two, to just feel yourself arrive. Consciously arrive. Bring a sense, a quality of attention, of mindfulness to your practice, rather than just kind of throwing yourself right in. Take a moment to get quiet, sense your own inner quiet, stillness. Give yourself a moment to connect to breath. Let's feel the strands of your attention, right, that may still be reaching back out into your day. Everything that's come before, everything that's come into your day up to now. You might have the thread of attention feeling its way into the future. You just keep drawing those back. A tract of strands of attention. Take 3 or 4 more breaths. Okay, and then if your legs are extended, go ahead and bring your feet up to stand on the floor, heels behind your hips. And your arms just out, away from your sides, down, straight out. Let's leave the arms and just push the feet to the floor, bring the hips up. Good, and hold, just take 4 more breaths here. Good, try a little extra push of your feet. Slightly more rising in your hips. Good, and then spine to the floor. Roll your spine back down to the floor. Hips to the floor. Here, take a breath. Okay, once again, 5 breaths in bridge pose. You can leave the arms as they were, or you can bring the arms underneath you, or just down alongside you where they could grip the mat, hold on to the mat, and just leverage some support there while you continue to push through your feet. Engage the hips and the back. Two more breaths. Spine to the floor, hips to the floor, and then knees to your chest. Hands over your knees, knees to your chest, or hands behind your knees. Feet back to the floor. We're going to go to the head, right hands together behind your head. For this will be your inhalation, and then your exhalation will be a lifting of your head, but turn and bring opposite knee to elbow. You want to add this extended leg, your free leg goes out, a little bit up, a little bit out, and then inhale, knees to chest, head to the floor. Push the arms down and then exhale, come back up, switch directions. But just let the whole length of the exhale hold you here. And when you breathe in again, come back down to the floor. Okay, twice more to each side. Exhale to come up. Rotate and feel a little squeeze in the side waist. The spine is twisting and side bending at the same time. Last one. Good, and then you can let go of your head, head to the floor, and then let the arms go and bring knees to chest. And if you want to just feel like your hips want a little bit more, and grab your feet. Take yourself from side to side, pull down a bit on your feet so you feel the knees go a little wider, you're a little deeper into the groins, inner thighs. Take another breath or two. Okay, and then drop your feet and come over onto your side. Come up to a seat. And if you have weights and you want to take weights here from a seated position, you can sit up on support as usual if you like to. Not necessary to have weights. If you have them, go ahead and just take them into your hands with them facing the floor. Like we did last week or week before, and you're lifting them with the backs of your hands facing each other and your palms facing away, just as far as you're comfortable going up and overhead. If you're not using weights, you're still going to feel that little squeeze in the tops of your shoulders. That's where we're going. Straight up overhead with weights or without weights. Five more, right? Comfortable range of motion for you. That might just be somewhere along here. You're still getting contraction in the deltoids if you just go out a bit. Any lift is going to engage the tops of your shoulders. A couple more. Good, and then you can let those go, set them aside so that they're just out of your way. Give the shoulders a little bit of a roll. Here, maybe take right arm across, using the left hand to kind of just pull and open. So just drop and let these kind of muscle fibers at the top of the shoulder get a little bit of length, a little bit of your breath. and then switch. Good. Okay, come on to all fours. From all fours, take a few breaths, take 4 or 5 breaths to breathe up and down your spine. Add side bending if side bending feels good and right. For the ribs into the side ribs, tend to carry any tightness. It might just feel good after that little bit of floor work, flexing into the side waist and doing that kind of twist, side bend crunch. Take one more breath. Good, and then from neutral spine, and here again, you can have a weight or you can leave the weights out. And you want just one weight held on in your left hand. So your right palm stays on the floor and you're just holding your weight up close to your shoulder. And then you're pushing it straight out overhead, pull it back to your shoulder. Straight overhead, back to your shoulder. Do 3 more. Switch hands. Weight to right hand, straight out, back to your shoulder. Switch hands again, go back to your left hand. If you have your weight up, get close to your shoulder, and you push it straight out to the side and bring it back. Five, and then switch hands again. Good, and then come back in, you can set the weight aside, curl your toes under, lift your knees, and press back into downward facing dog. Letting the pose be. Nice extension into your arms, shoulders, armpits, just let the arms feel some length. Put a little bit of tension in the legs, where you feel your heels really reaching for the floor, ankles flexed, a little soft in the knees, but the pelvis and the sit bones looking upward. One more breath. Good. And then to come down, keep your arms long, keep your shoulders extended, spine long, just bend your knees to get to the floor. Your hands might slide forward a little bit, and then you drop your knees, hips to your heels, child's pose, arms down alongside you. The weight of your arms and your shoulders just floppy next to you, but floppy, palms turn up. Take another breath here. Good. Lift your head and then reach forward, come back up onto all fours and back into downward dog, kind of the reverse of the way that you came down, so that your hips go back, push the floor, some extension all through here, and then from shoulders to hips. Then use your thighs to pull your knees up off the floor, and then take your knees back, downward facing dog. Take 2 more breaths here. Good, and then take a little slow walk of your hands back to where your feet are. Use the floor, so keep fingertips to the floor, palms to the floor, so you could shift your weight to your left foot. And then pick up your right leg, right foot, and just lift it straight back behind you, or a little higher if it will go a little higher. This is engagement in the back of your hip and the right glutes. So you're gonna fold, bend as much as you want into your left knee, lift your right leg. So it's either somewhere around where it's even with the floor in the same kind of horizontal plane as the floor, or up like you were trying to split standing on one foot. Lower that right foot. So balanced weight in your 2 feet again, and then come up to stand just nice and slow. Take your time. Take your time getting upright. Take a moment upright in your head and your spine. Take a breath here. Good. And then a few rounds of your breath where you're going to reach forward, lift your heels up off the floor. Exhale, drop the arms back, drop your heels. Forward with the arms up, balancing on the balls of your feet. Exhale, lower. Couple more. Good. Heels on the floor, take your arms over your head. Exhale, fold. Let the hands find some floor. And if your hands don't quite meet the floor, you don't feel stable, even up on your fingertips, you could have a block. You could use a block to get your hands up on something if you just need a little bit more height. And you want to shift your weight from your 2 feet into your right foot. Look back. Take your left leg up and back. Take your left leg back and up. You have some weight, you're supporting some of your weight in your arms and your hands. But feel how much of it is supported by that standing right leg. Take another breath or two. Lower left foot, right? Forward fold, Uttanasana. Hands to your hips, slow. Squeeze through the upper back, lift through the upper back to come up. Take a breath. Okay. Okay, and then have one weight handy if you want to have a weight in one hand for triangle pose. Okay, and just have it maybe in front of the long edge of your mat where you can reach for it. But start with feet wide and the toes facing the long edge of your mat. From the crease of your hips, press back and then fold. And then walk both hands over to the left foot, turn that foot out, turn your right heel a little bit back, grab your weight with your right hand if you want to use the weight, and then come up into triangle pose. Left hand to the left shin, just lift that weight straight up past your chest into your extended right arm. And you can just hold the weight up, right? You're just pushing some weight up off the floor, resisting the pull or push of gravity, however you want to think about it. You just hold it there. You can also let it fall a little bit forward. Take it a little bit forward and then take it back up. Take it a little bit over your head with an extended elbow, then take it back up. Drop it down close to your hip and then take it back up. And then drop it a little bit behind you, turn your ribs, and then bring it back up. And move it in a little bitty circle. Right over the shoulder. Good. Play with any and all of those movements, or just hold it up in the air for 3 more breaths. Good. Lower the weight to the floor in front of your mat. So you can reach for it again when you come back to the floor, both hands. Turn in the left toes, turn out the right foot, bring your weight around so your left hand can grab it as you come into triangle pose on the other side. Right hand to shin, lift the weight straight up past your chest into your left hand, left arm overhead. Good. And then again, if you want to, with the weight, move it around, move it forward, over your head, move it down by your hip. Drop it a little bit back behind you. Good. Little circles overhead if you want to. Take 3 or 4 more breaths. Play with, experiment with a little bit of movement if you're holding a weight, or even if you're not. Good. Lower the left arm. Set your weight on the floor. Bring both hands to the top of your mat up here where your right foot is. So you could get on the ball of the left foot. Step back your right foot. High push-up position. Few breaths here. Feel free to drop your knees. 2 more breaths. Inhale, with exhale, come down to the floor. Good. Slide your toes back, turn your toes back, turn one cheek to the floor, bring your arms alongside you. Again, floppy arms, elbows out, shoulders in the floor. Just another breath. Good. Okay. And then bring your gaze forward. Can you prop up onto your elbows? So you get your elbows. You grab onto elbows, and that's kind of about where elbows should be relative to your shoulders, right underneath your shoulders. And then your arms just out in front of you. Curl your toes under. Push into the balls of your feet, engage your legs. Feel your glutes turn on a little bit and just lift your chest. If you need to be a little lower, of course, you can be a little lower. Chest closer to the floor. But if this is a comfortable arch in your spine, let's take another couple of breaths. Good. And then lower your chest enough to get your elbows out from under you so you can bring your palms next to you. Press the floor. Come up knees wide, toes together. Hips to your heels, gently. Child's pose. Yeah. Good. And then bring yourself up from there. let's do just pick a variation of side plank pose. Any modification, any variation, of which there are basically 3. Right here. Or here. Or your 2 legs together. Hips above the floor here. 5 breaths. Pick a variation. 5 breaths. Flip right over onto side 2, or just come down onto your knees, take a breath, and just come in when you're ready to come in. You're holding a lot of your weight up off the floor, kind of gets your heart rate, gets your heart moving a little bit. So you need to just come back to baseline breath, and then pick a variation. Right, again, variation 1, variation 2, top foot of the top leg out in front of you, bottom leg is extended, or both legs in extension. Return to your belly when you're ready to come back down out of the side plank pose. Okay, and then take a left arm. I'm going to pick left arm just because it has more room to reach out onto the floor. So the palm is facing the floor. And you're going to turn your head away from that arm and use your right hand to push yourself all the way over onto your left side, over the front of that shoulder. Take 4 more breaths on this side. Good. Exhale, finish this breath, exhale, slowly release. Reach out your other arm. Over onto right side, take 5 breaths. Oh, good. Let that go. Back up onto your belly and then press the floor to come up. Come into a comfortable seat. So whatever that means for you, whatever is comfortable, upright spinal seat, a comfortable seat. And then bring your arms like eagle pose. So I have the right elbow over the left elbow, the forearms are intertwined. Then I'm going to pull the arms to the left. You're getting that same, basically that same stretch we did at the very beginning. here with your arms in eagle arms. You might feel it just almost targeting the cap of the deltoid a little more precisely. Take another breath or two. Inhale, exhale, let that go. Take a breath. Left elbow, right elbow. Left arm over right arm. Pull to the right. Good. Unravel your arms and take your legs forward, unfold your legs, come back onto your back. Right ankle, left knee. Cross right ankle over your left knee. Pick up your left foot, bring your hands together behind your left thigh, pull your left knee toward your chest. Little flexion in your right ankle, toes pointing back toward that same side knee. You want to take a little dip toward the left. Just allow some blood flow, some oxygen, some blood flow, some of your breath to infuse more down into your hips. And take another breath and then switch the cross. Left ankle, right knee to your chest, a little flexion in the left ankle, a little dip to the right. And then you can let go and uncross and just take your feet to the floor. And then another way to get just a variation on that same kind of outer back deep, kind of behind the gluteals stretch, where you tend to feel that most deeply, is to bring both of your legs up and cross the shins. And then if you can bend your knees enough to bring your feet close enough that you can grab onto the outside edges of the opposite foot as they're crossed. So it's like you're in easy pose on your back. And you pull your crossed legs a little more toward you. Outside edges of feet pull down toward you. The top leg is where you might tend to feel that stretch more. See if you can also put a little space between lumbar spine and the floor. So find the natural curve of your lumbar spine. Switch the cross. Just see what's available. See if it adds anything, brings anything a little bit different. If you can get all the way to thigh over thigh and still grab your feet and then pull down. You can try that too. This is really cow face pose on your back. cow face pose legs. Good, let all of that go. Bring your feet to the floor. Arms wide, arms maybe a little bit up. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees fall away from one another. Let your knees fall to either side. Slide your feet away from you. Your legs go long. If you want to, do a little twist here on your back, bring your knees back into your chest. You could just, if you want your whole 5 minutes more to be in Shavasana, you can go ahead and just make Shavasana. If you want a little spinal twist, take 5 breaths to each side. Your knees off to one side. If you're in the twist, go ahead and let your knees, drop your knees the other way. And rest, and rest. Take 3-4 minutes, just rest. Just feel how easy it is to just come directly to Shavasana all at once. Letting go of everything that was an effort or an action, a doing. And so just another minute or so here. Sense the lines on your face soften, creases between your eyebrows, corners of your eyes, mouth. Let your face soften. And take another couple of breaths here on your back. You might reach arms overhead, fully extend. Just take one final full body stretch. And come to your side. Just from the floor, from there to come up to sit. Just come slow and with your eyes closed. Come to a seat and then just pause here to close your practice. Move into the rest of your evening, to the rest of your week. Bring a piece of this with you. Cultivate that peace and equanimity until you come back to your mat. Thank you again for your time, ladies. Thank you very much. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you again.